Standing next to me is Sensei Winston Nyanhete, but going by the moniker Sensei Spider. A very good afternoon to you, sir.
Afternoon, Jason. Thank you for having me.
Now, Clash of Titans in its 10th edition, would you just want to give us a brief overview of when it started and how it has been going over the years?
Yes, this is a tournament that we started back in 2015. So 2015, we had our first Clash of the Titans. This was the name Clash of the Titans is an idea from the girls. They were the captains, Naomi Mandenge and Ruvimbo Madongorere. So we did 2015. We skipped 2016. We couldn't find the proper timing for it. But then, we continued in 2017. So that makes today the 10th edition of this tournament. It's grown exponentially. It's good. It's very competitive now. It's very inclusive. So, yes, very good competition for school karate.
But what has been the objectives from the time when you started it? I know that this is a Dominican Convent event that invites all schools from across Zimbabwe to come and compete here. What has been the objective of starting such a tournament?
Okay. The objective is, in school, there's a lot of activities that happen, athletics, mainstream, you find your soccer, mainstream, netball. But, karate never really got the attention that, it needed in a school setting. So this kind of setup allows people in school to compete and, go back to their schools and, shine and say, look, you guys are the soccer champions. We also doing our thing in karate, and they've got the medals to show for it. So it's a tournament that encourages people in school to really also compete. If you are going for basketball, parents are going to make time for it because it's a school event. But karate mostly it's treated as an external event. The karate tournament, it can clash with any other sport. Someone may be called for athletics, but it's a school event. Parents support even more. Schools support. So we've got this Clash of the Titans is there to raise awareness and to encourage the kids from grassroots level to national team level to say, guys, come compete. We share ideas with the coaches. We grow like that.
Now, talking of national team level, this man here, Sensei Nyanhete, Sensei Spider, is Zimbabwean head coach, karate head coach. Now, talking of national team, do we have any good stories of youngsters that began their karate journey in school, some of them competing in this tournament, and who have filtered into the national team as well?
Okay, yeah, those are too many to tell, but I can pick a few. Dominican Convent captain in 2015, Naomi Mandenge, started as a Form 1. And, she rose through the ranks. She's a regional champion. She was our first continental double bronze medalist at the Africa Youth Games, the second edition in Botswana. This was a big thing, karate. So she kind of opened the doors for the younger ones who are there. Recently, we Angola hosted the 4th Africa Youth Games, and, we didn't do too bad. We had 4 bronze medals. Some of the girls who are here, they train. You've got the girls from Bulawayo, you've got the Bradley Kadzombe. One of our athletes from Riverside, he got the first medal of the games in Angola last year.
And looking at the people that are gathering here today and those that have been gathering over the past other editions out there, would you just want to let us know, to tell us where these competitors have been coming from? And yeah.
Okay, so all the athletes, the students that are here are drawn from schools from across the country. You've got schools from Bulawayo, you've got schools from Marondera, Harare, Gweru, Kwekwe, so Beatrice. There's schools there. So there's a lot of schools from across the country, that are supporting the event, and they're here to represent their schools.
Now, speaking about moving away from what's happening here today, but talking about the national team, what exactly can we look out for this year, 2026?
Yes, I think In Zimbabwe, for us as Zimbabweans, the biggest activity is the biggest event that's coming is the World Karate Federation Karate One Youth League. This is a tournament, for all the youth in the world. It's never been done anywhere in Africa. Zimbabwe is hosting for the first time in Africa. It's in Croatia, Greece, but now we get a chance to host it. We've got a group of 50 athletes who will be taking part in that. Majority of the athletes are here competing, and they're just testing their techniques to see, hey, are we ready for this? So this is like a yardstick for the upcoming tournament.
But are you happy as the head coach, the state of our preparedness to host such a tournament of that magnitude in terms of the team that you're going to be fielding in there and all the preparations that you've been put in place so far?
Yes, I'm very happy with that. Our athletes lack exposure. It's unfortunate that we don't get as much funding to travel to such big events. So I'm happy with the preparation that's there. We're going to face very little cost for this event because we are hosting. And it's an event that will allow our athletes to really see where they stand in the world. Like I was saying, we are coming from December Africa Youth Games, but it only takes a limited number of athletes. But now, a big pool like 50 athletes for Zimbabwe, it's something big. When we travel, we've got the regional karate championships happening in Angola later in mid-May. Angola is very far and Angola is very expensive to get to. So this is something good for us. Preparation-wise, it will take us far. So everyone is working. No stone is going to be left unturned to make sure we are ready for this event.
Second from last, Sensei. Please just come closer. Second from last, Sensei. You are the head coach at Dominican Convent, but you are also the head coach at the Zimbabwe Karate Federation, our national head coach. Coach, why must a student leave all other sports and come to karate? What argument can you put as the head coach? What does karate do to a child?
Karate is very challenging. Number one, for me, you stand alone. Because yes, we've got team events, but it challenges you as an individual to really say, look, am I really worth my salt? It's a competition that pushes for discipline. Karate is discipline. You work on yourself. Your fitness is put to the test, and you learn respect for yourself, for others. Karate is a very good event to learn. When you do karate, the way you learn so many things allows you to do other sports at ease because karate is not complicated but challenging.
Challenging indeed. All right, very lastly, Coach, what is the future of these sort of tournaments, the Clash of the Titans?
Yes, this is a continuing event. It's an annual event that's there on the school calendar each and every year. We've got other schools who've also come in to do their own thing, and now we are not only waiting for one host. You get to go out there also, and we support each other. The idea is to grow the sport. If we grow, one day we are in Bulawayo, the next day we are in Midlands, and school karate is now widespread. The only thing is it was competing with school sports that are there, and it was an external sport. So now we're really pushing for it to be, recognized as a worthwhile doing sport.
I've been chatting to Sensei Winston Nyanhete, who's one of the organizers of Clash of the Titans. We are here in Harare at Veritas Sports Club.